Welcome students. So today students we are going to take the methods for the list. Okay, already there are previous videos that I had recorded quite earlier. I had uploaded that, but this is now again I'm recording it, and just we will cover up the methods used for list, the list methods. Okay, let me just configure the IDE and increase the size, and I'll make it 25. Okay, and now let us understand all the methods of the list. In the previous video we had learned all the methods of string, the string methods, and for the exam point of view, please make sure that you practice those methods. Similarly, we have methods in list by which we can perform some operations on list, and even this is like a very important part of the chapter. So list, as you are aware of, that we can store multiple data types, values into the list. For example, if I have a list like L is equal to, and then the opening and closing, that is the square brackets, we use it, and then we can have some elements like 1 2 3 4 5. What happens is this is going to be a list, and these are the elements inside a list. The most important thing to understand is that lists are mutable data types. They are not immutable, just like strings. Strings and numbers are immutable, whereas list and dictionaries, they are mutable. Okay, which means that I can change these values. Like if I have stored these values, so I can change the values. Now what is the format of storing a list is that the item, the element, and then separated by the commas. I guess this is very much clear. I've just taken all this in my previous video. So we can say that there are 5 elements into the list. List is like, you can have multiple data types. It's not like only numbers, but you can have different data types as well. So I can say like a sunbeam, and even this is fine. Like this is also one of the element, and I can have 2.5. So this is a floating number. So even that is fine. So we can have multiple data types into a list. Okay, and lists are immutable. Sorry, lists are mutable, so I can change the values. So if I say the indexing will be the same as what we have in strings, the forward indexing and backward indexing. So if I try to print something like L and then the square bracket of 0, so I'm actually specifying the index value. So 0 will start from this, that is the first element. So it is going to print, okay, the name is capital L, so it is going to print what? It is going to print 1. Let me just save this and show you the output. So let me just have tt.py, and you can see that the output is 1 out here, right? If I specify something like 5, so what is 5? The index value 5. So index value starts from 0, so that is 0 1 2 3 4 and 5. So that is sunbeam, so it should print me sunbeam for me. You can see out here. Okay, now let us, I've taken this in my previous video, so now let us move on to understand the methods of list. How to add an element into a list. Like this is predefined, already I've defined in the code. Now if I want to add programmatically, if I want to add one more element, how would I do that, right? So without declaring inside this, so I can simply say L dot append, and the method that we use is append. So append method basically is going to add the element inside the list, and it is going to add the element at the end. So if I add something like 45, so the number 45 is going to add at the end. So after 2.5 we will have 45. Okay, so let me just print the list. So you can straight away print the list since it's a data type, and L. So I'm printing the list before adding the value and then after adding the value. Okay, so we'll see the output, both the outputs we will see. You can see that before adding the value we had this list, and after adding the value we have this list. So you can see that 45 is at the end of the list. So What is append method? Append method is basically used to add an element inside in a list. Okay, and the element will get added at the end of the list. Fine. So let's move ahead now, and let us understand the working of extend. And there is a difference between extend and append. Okay, so we are going to understand L dot, if I say L dot extend, okay, that's the word extend. Now please understand that extend method, okay, unlike append method, they only take list as an argument. So they take list as an argument. So you need to pass a list inside this, you know, the opening and closing brackets inside the parenthesis. So if I say, something like 50 comma 60, now please understand that this is a list. I can do it this way also. I can take another list, like maybe, L2 is equal to 50 comma 60, and then I can pass L2 out here. Even that is fine. Okay, and then I try to print L. Now what is going to happen is, append method basically only takes one element, and that element will be added into the list. Extend method, if you have multiple elements you want to add into the list, so we can just type all that, we can have a list, another list, and the elements inside those lists, and then pass that list using the extend method. So when we use the extend method, all the elements of the list that we have passed, okay, that is L2, will be added inside the list. Okay, so if I run this, you can see the output. So you can see this was the first output, and then we added 45, and then this is the last list that we have is using the extend method. It's the same list. Now you can see after 45 we have two more elements that got added inside the list. Okay, 50 and 60, and you can see that was the list. So if we want multiple elements to inside add into the list, so it's better to use an extend method. Now please understand there is also one of the major difference between append and extend. Okay, I can pass any kind of data type. Since a list can have multiple data types, I can pass any kind of data type to to the append, and as well as extend. Extend, we can only pass the list. Please understand. For extend, we can only pass a list. For append, I can pass any kind of multiple data types. So what if I pass like the same list that we have, and I pass the same list out here? Okay, now I can also have one more variable, declare it, and then pass that. It's okay, just like what I did out here. We can do the same thing, but I'm directly passing that list. It's completely fine. What is going to happen? Append takes one element. Now this element is actually a list. Now how this is going to work? I said that append will basically take only one element, so it is going to consider this entire thing as one element, and this one element is going to get added into the list. So if you see the output now, what is going to happen is, see, this was the first print. Now what has happened out here, you can see that 50 and 60 that actually got added into the element. So this is basically a nested list. So this is a list, and inside this there is one element which is also a list. Okay, you can see we had these elements, and after this we have one more element which is actually a list. But if I use the same thing with the extend, what it is going to do, it is going to add the elements of the list inside the list. And you can see this is what we have now over here till here. And then using the same thing, I used this with the extend. And what extended is, it added 50 and 60 inside the list and not a nested list. Okay, let me just delete all this and take one more. Like if I say L dot append, and then I pass 1 comma 2. Now what is going to happen? It is going to add this entire list inside this list. So it is going to be a nested list, understand it. So if I run this, you can see the output. Okay, we did not printed that. So you can see that that entire list got added. So this is actually one of the element of the list. Same thing if I do this using an extend. So this is going to add the elements of these list inside this list. Okay, so you can see the difference, and that is the major difference between a list and a append and extend. And you can see 1 2 got added out here. Okay, so please remember this difference. So that is the difference between an extend and append. Next, what we have, the next method that we have is the insert method. So insert method also, will add an element inside a list, but unlike the extend, unlike the append, it actually adds the element at the end of the list. What if I want to add an element between some of that elements that already we have? So for example, if I want an element between 2 and 3. So in that case, you can use the insert method. Okay, so L, the list, okay, it is associated L dot and then the name of the method. That is the syntax. Do not forget the syntax. Okay, and then I have to specify which position I want to enter. So I want to enter 0 1 uh, and 2. So this is 2, so this is 0th index, 1 2. So I want my new value at index 2, and the value will be 500. Okay, so this is the element. So let me just print before the operation and after the operation. So before the operation, it is going to print the list as it is, and then after this operation we are going to print it again, and now we will see the output of this. So you can see that this was the list that got added. I mean, this is the list that got printed, and now you can see that 500 is at index value 2. So between 2 and 3, we have actually added the element that is 500. So this is how the insert value basically works. Then if there is something that, any index value that does not, that index value 10, which is not there in the list. So in that case, okay, what is going to happen? It is going to add at the end of the list. Please understand this. So it will not make any difference even if I make this as 20 and try to add that. Since 20 does not exist, still you can see 500 is at the end of the list, so we are not going to have any error. See, this is 0 1 2 3 4, this is 5 6, so there are only 6 elements. I mean, yes, there are 7 elements actually, and index value starts from 0 to 6. So index value is still 6, so there is no index value 20. But in that case, what it is going to do, it is going to add the element at the end of the list. Okay, remember this as well. Then what we have is a pop method, which is very very important. A pop method, which if you want to remove an element from the list, so I will use the pop method. Now pop method, if I use it straight away, opening and closing parenthesis, by default what it is going to do is it is going to remove the element that was entered last. Okay, so that is a 2.5. It should pop the element, it should remove that element. Okay, you can see that the list got printed out here, and then this is the new list, and the new list we don't have 2.5. So what pop method does is it is going to remove the last element from the list by default, and we can actually collect that value into a variable that I, you can use any variable name, we can collect that value. So I can say that I comma then a message got removed from the list, and then I print the list. Okay, so you can see, now you can see 2.5 got removed from the list, and then this is the new list. If I use the pop method again, what it is going to do, the last element whatever we have, that is now after removing 2.5, it will be sunbeam, so that will be removed from the stack. Now if I again use this, so you can see 2.5 got removed, and again I use that pop, and now we have this list where we have sunbeam and 2.5 is been removed, right? This is one of the way. And if you really want to remove some in between value, so you can specify the index. For example, if I say 2, so this is going to remove the index value 2, so 0, 1 and 2, that is 3. So let us see how this works. And you can see that 1 2 we have this, and then we have 1 2 3, and you can see that 3 value is not present in the list. Okay, so using that index value you can remove any elements from the list. We can remove the first element. If I want to remove the first element, what will I do? I will simply specify this as 0, and now this is going to remove the first element from the list. Okay, so I hope that this is also very much clear to you. And then we have the method, that is we have a remove method also. A remove method also works the same way, like it is used to remove the element, but we do not specify the index. We over here we specify the value, the element. For example, I say L dot remove and then 5. So what this is going to do, and then I print L. So what this is going to do, it is going to remove the element 5. Okay, now if I run this, and you can see the output that 5 is been removed. And suppose if I have two 5s, so what it is going to do is it is going to remove one of the 5, the first one, the first 5 will be removed. Okay, please understand, if there are two duplicates, so the first 5 will be removed. If I perform this operation again, then the next 5 will also get removed from the list. Now if I run this, you can see we have a list where there is no 5 at the end. This is what we printed before and then afterwards. So this is how it works. And if I specify something like 500, now 500 does not exist, right? It is not there in the list. So in that case, it is going to show me an error if that element does not exist in the list. So it is going to throw me an error. Okay, so this is how you can, remove the elements, add the elements inside a list. And then what we have is a method, that is clear method. Now clear is basically going to remove all the elements from the list. Okay, so if I run this, and you can see there is a list, but the list is an empty list. Okay, and then what we have is okay, one more important is the count method. The count method also we have it in string as well. Okay, what does this will do is it is going to count the number of elements in the list, and then it is going to return that count. So let me just you know collect that count into a variable called I, and I will print I. Okay, now if I run this, what is going to happen is it showed me the value 2. Now why it showed me the value 2 is because you can see there are two 5s. The element 5 is occurring twice in the list, and that is the reason why it has showed me the value 2. Suppose if I give 4, so in that case it is just going to show me a value that is 1, right? And if I say something like 100, now 100 does not exist in the list, so in that case it should show me a 0. So what is the count method? Count method basically counts the number of times the element occurs in the list. Okay, so that is the use of count, and we have this count method in string as well. Now one more thing that we have, one more method that we have is the reverse method. So if I simply say L dot reverse. Okay, the reverse method. So what this is going to do is it is going to reverse the entire list basically. Okay, you can see entire list got reversed. So the last element actually became the first element. Okay, so that is the working of the reverse method. And then we have one more method, that is a sort method. Now sort method basically it is going to do the sorting, but there is a condition, and the condition is like this. Why we have this error is because sort method will expect that all the elements should be of similar data type. So if I give something like 5 4 3 2 1, okay, so this is going to sort, and by default it is going to sort in an increasing order. So now if I print, you can see it has been sorted from smaller to bigger. Okay, and if you really want it in decreasing order, so if I have something like 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 5, and I want to sort this into a decreasing order from bigger to smaller, so what you can do is you can use sort, and inside the sort you can use that reverse is equal to true. This is what you need to specify. So this will be in decreasing order. So now this is a list which is in increasing order. Now let us see what happens. We can see that the list is now in decreasing order, right? So this is the format. Please, it is also in the book, children. You can refer the book and you can practice it. So these are the important methods of a list. Already I have uploaded few videos for the various programs on list. Please go through that. Okay, and tomorrow is Sunday, but still what I will do is I will upload a video. Please go through that video as well, because that is going to give you a very good programming practice. I'm going to upload a video on the slicing, that is a string slicing and list slicing. String slicing and list slicing is also very important part of the chapter, and it is going to be there in your exam. So list slicing and string slicing, one video I'm going to upload tomorrow, and most probably I'm going to upload few more videos, like even if we don't have the class, but still maybe few practice videos I'm going to upload it. So please go through all that. Again I repeat, we have the syllabus till list, and we have only Python. I have uploaded the syllabus, the detailed syllabus, which all chapters we have for the exam, and I have that syllabus in according to the book, that is this Sumit Arora. So please go through that syllabus, prepare yourself accordingly to the syllabus. Okay, so we have 30 marks of exam which is online. So since it is online, so most of the questions will be um, on like finding the output. So we will have the code and you have to guess the output. So children, please practice it. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to upload one more video on slicings, so go through that video as well. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye for now.